24th of April 2023. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Talk to you a little bit today about this wacky weather. I've told you before, temperature gets above 60, I'm sweating like I've been sitting in a river all day or a swimming pool. I like the weather like this, a little cool, good to get out and do stuff in your yard, right? You'll ask people, what do you think about the weather? Well, if you ask somebody that's a scientist, it's global warming or it's, something like that going on. If you ask somebody religious, it's God giving you more time to, get out, early time to plant and stuff like that, right? What you have to understand is this type of weather has went on before. We've had cool springs, we've had cold springs. There was even, we've had years where the winter didn't really stop, Read back your history. I always talk about your history. But, you always hear dogwood winter, blackberry winter, this winter, that winter, right? I will admit that we are a little early on that this year, but, gives you more time to get out and get your stuff planted, right? If that stuff's blooming, and people say, well, you could still have a frost. Yeah, you could. That's possible. The main thing about this, what I'm trying to make a point at is this is not nothing new. It's not. It's happened before. But I will admit that these strange weather events are happening more regular now than I can remember in my lifetime. Now, I'm a big history person. I read history, about just about anything to do with history, I read about it. And these types of things have happened before in our past. You also got to stop and understand we see more stuff going on now due to, cell phones. People take pictures, videos and stuff of everything now, right? We lived here through a huge tornado outbreak a couple years ago, and thankfully we haven't had another one in our area since then. But does that mean it's not going to happen again? No, it'll happen again eventually. What you got to look at is the weather, right? Can we control the weather, me and you? No. Now, cloud seeding and things like that has occurred. It has happened. You've got people that believe, the chemtrails and all that manipulate the weather, and that's why we're having such bad weather nowadays. But I've told you, even when I was a kid, I can remember seeing chemtrails in the air. They're nothing new, but people are acting like they're something new. I always ask, did you not ever look up when you were younger? They were there, because I can remember seeing them. Because I would ask, like, my grandpa or something like that, what is that in there? He'd be like, well, that's a jet where it flew over, I'm like, okay. So I'd seen them before in my past. If you haven't, I don't know what to tell you. If this is here lately, it's the first time you've been seeing them, I don't know what to tell you. If that's what you want to go with, that's controlling our weather, do you. That's my big thing on this channel here. I'm not here to disagree with you. I'm here to give you my opinion on what I think's going on or my thoughts about a situation. You do you. Like I've told you, nuclear war stuff, if that's what gets you prepping, get to prepping. Am I worried about it? No. Could it happen? Yes. But I'm not sitting here panicking and worrying about it. But what does this weather give us an opportunity to do right now? Number one, you can get outside and not sweat, right? You get out there and get to work, do stuff outside. These same people that are complaining about how cool it is right now will be complaining when it gets up to 100 degrees in the summer. You'll see people, something that's always confused me, if you have Facebook or social media, I'm sure it's on Twitter. We have a Twitter, but I don't ever post there or anything like that. You'll see people, I can't wait for the summer to get here for bonfire and cookout season, right? I'm always like, why do you want to sit around a bonfire in the middle of summer? It's hot. Why do you want to sit around a fire? If you're going to do it in the fall when it's cool. But, like I said, do what you want to do type deal. But right now, get your gardens in the ground. If you're in an area where you can plant right now, I know further up north you can still have freezes and frost, up to May, maybe even June. And you go even further, y'all got a short growing season. But it's pretty safe if you live below, Ohio, Kentucky. You can get your garden in the ground now. We got a local weatherman that kept telling people, don't plant till this date, this date, this date, because our historical last freeze is on this date. And I commented, if you keep telling people not to plant, they're going to be harvesting their garden in September and October, But then I got to thinking, a lot of people don't plant seeds. They go to the store, they buy plants and put them in the ground. They don't, even like cucumbers or squashes or something, they would rather buy the plant. My grandpa always taught me, just build your hill, put your 2 or 3 seeds in there, water it, fertilize it, and then thin them out when they come up. That's how we plant here, and it's been pretty successful for us. Last year our tomatoes didn't do real good because we bought plants from a store. I mean, they just didn't do good. You know, they produced a few tomatoes and then just stopped. So I don't know about that. This year we're doing something different on the tomatoes. But the weather, the wacky weather, we keep hearing about all the long dark winters or the terrible storms in the spring or the droughts in the summer, you know, the blizzards in the winter. Guys, this has happened before. It's nothing new. Yes, it is going on more often now. I will admit that. I don't know what's causing it. Are we just in a cycle? You know, in a cycle? Because if you read your history, you know, just go back and look at weather history throughout the United States. We've been through this before. We've had years where we've had numerous hurricanes, right? And now it seems like every year when hurricane season's fixing to open, they're going to tell us, oh, we're going to have, you know, 200 hurricanes or something. But another thing with hurricanes, you'll hear all this about it. Oh, it's a category 3, it's category 4, it's category 5, this or that, right? And I've always, when I ask them, because I have friends that are meteorologists on Facebook, and I speak to them, I said, look, y'all are telling people this is category, we're just going to use category 5 storm. The winds are in excess of, you know, what is it, 160 miles an hour, let's say. Where is that wind at? Is it ground level? Is it so high up in the atmosphere? You know, where's it at? You know, and they tell me you'll have gusts that'll get down to ground level at those speeds. But, you know, your average speeds are less than that. And I'm like, okay, well, why are y'all just focusing on, and they would tell me, shock and awe. You know, we got to get people worried. We got to get them scared of these storms. Yes, they are deadly, dangerous storms. I'm not saying that. But we had a storm come through a couple of weeks ago. It was supposed to be this massive windstorm with this cold front. They were predicting 70, 80 mile an hour winds. You know, and I asked a Huntsville weatherman, I said, where is this height out of these winds? He said, it's about 4,000 feet up in the atmosphere. I'm like, what's ground level? He said about 2/3, half to 2/3 of that speed. That's what the ground level speeds will be. Which we did see gusts here at 60 miles an hour. We did see them, but it wasn't a sustained wind like they kept telling us. But weathermen are in the same business as YouTube people, right? Shock and awe. Got to get them views. Got to get you worried. Our local weathermen here lately, if they'll stay on air for severe thunderstorms because they want to be the first one to say, hey, there's a tornado. And now they tell you a tornado's coming because they can see a debris ball or something like that happening, right? But I'm thankful they're there watching the weather, don't get me wrong, but weathermen are just, you know, weatherman job, you can get paid for being right 1 out of 10 times, right? So, but as far as our weather, what we're seeing here, it is cooler than normal. You see I got a hoodie on, but I love it. I love the cool weather. You can get out and you can do stuff in your yard. You're not sweating. You're not miserable. You're not getting dehydrated, which you still need to drink water even on cool days. But when the summer gets here, the same people that's complaining about this cool weather we're having right now will pitch a fit because it's a drought. Their crops are drying up. This or that's happening, or it's just too hot for them to get outside and work. They're sweating, right? Oh, I'm sweating. I hate sweating. I've told y'all that. Above 60 degrees, I hate it. I hate it. If you know me, you know if you see me above 60 degrees, I look like I've been in a swimming pool or a river all day. Don't know why. I've just always been that way my whole life. But what's your thoughts on the weather? Do you think it's something environmental doing it? Do you think it's just a cycle we're going through? Do you think it's God giving you more time to get crops in the ground? You know, get them in earlier? Do you think us having this cool spring, I'm not going to say cool spring, that we're going to have a ridiculously hot summer, which is kind of what I'm leaning towards. We may, you know, get a little hot here. And if you live in Alabama, in my area, in the north part of Alabama, remember, when the weatherman's screaming it's going to be 100 degrees like it's never happened before, we have had 100-degree days here. It's nothing new. Stay hydrated, you know, stay in the shade as much as possible. Y'all know what to do. I don't need to tell y'all all that. But what's your thoughts on this? Do you think it's weather manipulation? You think the government's up there seeding the clouds? You know, do you think the chemtrails are messing up the atmosphere and ozone and we need to go green? What is your thoughts on this? Why do you think the weather is the way it is for the past 2 or 3 years here? What's your thoughts on it? Stay safe, get prepped up, keep your head on a swivel, be aware of your surroundings at all times, protect yourself and your family at all times. If you're still watching, hit that subscribe button. Thank you to everyone who is subscribed. Welcome to the new subscribers. Stay safe, get prepped up, and let's see what happens this summer, right? About all we can do.